So we've heard a lot about different technologies today. It was really interesting, and a lot of the similar things that we're doing within our organisation. The purpose of the next sort of 15 or so minutes is for me to talk and tell you about a specific case study and really talk about the use cases that our customer IKEA are finding from the Internet of Things or location-based services type solutions that we've been hearing a lot about today. Again, I'm going to keep the presentation very non-technical. If you want to have a more detailed conversation about SSIDs and that sort of thing, come grab a beer with me later and I'll go into detail on that. But yeah, the focus today is going to be much more on the use cases. I'll briefly explain to you who Ideal Networks are. You probably aren't familiar with us as an organisation. We're a Brighton-based company. We were founded in 2009, completely from scratch. We've been going 6 years. We were 3 weeks ago named as the 50th fastest growing company, tech company within the UK on the Sunday Times Tech Track 100. We're now up to 40 staff in a Kemp Town office with £8 million turnover. What do? We do network and infrastructure specialisations, basically driving business value from a network or an infrastructure for an organisation. Primarily, we partner with a much larger organisation called Cisco, who I'm sure most of you have heard of, across 4 main architectures. So that's enterprise networks, i.e. routing and switching and wireless technology, collaboration, so phone systems, video conferencing, WebEx, that type of solution, data centre solutions, so servers, storage, data centre networking, and of course security, which underpins all of those areas. So, IKEA. Hands up who's been to an IKEA? Excellent, good. I mean, I've got some material to work with then. Keep your hands up if you didn't particularly enjoy the experience of having to walk around the entire store. Good. Again, imagine my surprise. However, again, put your hands up if you think by having to do that not very nice experience, you actually probably came out of that IKEA store with more things than you went in with. Excellent, good. I'm in the right place then. So what we've seen there is that although the experience wasn't what you wanted, from IKEA's point of view, it was exactly what they wanted because it's driven revenue. So the challenge for technology within this particular space is to improve your experience without negatively impacting their revenue, i.e. without completely putting their entire business model of making you walk around the whole store completely in the bin and thus harming revenue. So IKEA have been having a look at that model for a number of years, and we've been involved in some areas of that. And what we've been working with them on is a number of key use cases where we think location-based technology or the Internet of Things can have a significant positive impact on your experience as a consumer without negatively impacting that revenue. So what happened was that the global team in Sweden commissioned a pilot of location-based services within one of the UK stores, and we as an organisation have been providing the underlying infrastructure and working directly with their application development team to deliver that solution. The use cases were broken down into 2 different areas. The first being analytics, i.e. providing them with far more information about who was in the store, what they were doing, and how that was working. And secondly, navigation, basically providing geographical information to both co-workers and to yourselves as customers. So for today's purpose, I'll just quickly run through those 2 individual types. So to start with the analytics, which is probably the less sexy and fun of the 2, to be honest with you. So live customer flow tracking, a fairly straightforward one we've heard a bit about today already. Obviously, from IKEA's point of view, the vision here being that if we can create a live customer tracking throughout the store, the business can make real-time decisions about what's going on and essentially improve experience without you even knowing about it. So that's that one. The queue monitoring, I think we've heard quite a lot about queue monitoring today. Now, IKEA has quite a good method that we can apply this to here. Because of the nature of how an IKEA store works and making you go all the way around, what we can do is we can proactively see when queues are going to be busy. If we can see a large group of people are going to be hitting the queues in about 20 minutes, IKEA as a business can make that decision and put more checkout staff on the counters. So again, giving you an improved experience of the IKEA store without you even actually knowing about it. Similarly, in terms of live customer flow tracking, if you were part of a large group of people who all happen to have entered the store together, and they can see that actually the section behind you is fairly free and empty, what they can do is really intelligent things like send you push notifications as you go past the restaurant for a free coffee or something like that, meaning that it breaks up that large group of people, and again, everyone has a better experience of being within the store. Again, having information about how busy each individual department is has actually resulted in department managers having far less to do in terms of keeping track of customer volumes, and is also proven useful in areas we didn't even think that would be useful in terms of security concerns, also in terms of fire safety and that type of thing as well. The hot and cold areas is another interesting one. So IKEA primarily use this when they're relaying out a department. So an IKEA department will probably get laid out in a different way about every 2 months. So this is a really key one in terms of seeing how well they've done that job, because what they want to happen is a nice smooth flow of traffic throughout the store. But obviously with this information, they can then see, people are taking a lot longer to get through this particular way. We need to maybe change some of the ways that we've laid out our stores. And that's now coming right back into the information when they do that. And I've also seen this used in a number of other retailers. A really good example for hot and cold ones is either in shopping centres, so places like Westfield or the Trafford Centre. They're actually using that information now to drive revenue, because they are now saying to retailers who want to operate within these shopping centres, yes, you can have a store, but we're not going to charge you on a square foot basis. We're going to charge you more if you're in a place where we can see that it's really red and there's loads of traffic. And you know what? If you're not willing to pay that as a retailer, yes, you can have a store within our centre, but you're going to be right down the end. Similarly, within a department store, somebody like John Lewis, who is selling a lot of products from other organisations, they're now coming to the table when it comes to negotiating, selling those products within those stores with a huge amount more information, so that if that company who wants to sell their product within a John Lewis store is saying, yes, we'd like to sell it, but we're only willing to give you 5% of the profit, John Lewis would be then able to turn around and say, well, that's fine, we'll sell your product within our store, but we're going to put it right in the corner where no one's ever going to see it. And because they're actually able to bring this information to the table, those resellers can then see the benefits of being in the hot areas of these environments. And then within a number of cases, and particularly within IKEA, this information is now being used to replicate manual processes. Instead of having to understand exactly how customers move around these stores, this information is basically readily at hand. So navigation. So there's a really nice story here. And this is where we've worked really closely with the application development team within IKEA. This is all focused around, the buzzword in retail at the moment is multi-channel or omni-channel. So what we're looking to achieve within this section of the deployment is to get as close to the blue dot experience as possible. And we're currently looking at a wireless technology and deploying that can give you accuracy within 1 metre. And I've got a small video at the end from Cisco of how that exactly works. So what we're doing with IKEA by working with the application development team is to get to the ultimate goal of a customer being able to look on the catalogue app at home, having the IKEA app on their phone or on their tablet, and selecting through a number of items that they wish to purchase. However, they still want the IKEA experience, and IKEA still wants consumers to have an IKEA experience of going into the store and interacting with everything. So what we've got to now from a navigation perspective is that when you enter the store, if you're a family card holder member, and you've got a shopping list pre-programmed into your phone, as you enter the store, the Wi-Fi will automatically recognise you and say, hello, Mike, welcome to IKEA Croydon, for example. And it will then turn into what we call the in-store mode on the app, and it can automatically display a map of all your items around the store, telling you exactly where they are. So yes, you do still have that marginally painful experience of having to go around the entire store, but on the plus side, you do know exactly where all the items you're looking for are. It gets cleverer than this. It can even, with RFID tagging, as you put items into your basket, if you forget an item, say for example, you've got a pillow in your shopping list, as you approach to leave the bedroom department, we can now send you a push notification saying, did you know you were supposed to pick up this pillow and it's just back there? Because what IKEA don't want you doing is getting all of the way around the other side of the store, realising, oh, I forgot that pillow, because their data shows that clearly people don't walk all the way back around the store to pick something like that up. So we're seeing the network driving real business value and real business benefits within that. It can also do really intelligent things, such as if you've been sat on the same sofa for 5 minutes, the network can tell that and can say, look, we know there's some interest in this sofa, they've been sat on it for 5 minutes, and it can send you things like push notifications about this sofa was designed by such and such a person in Sweden, or further information, or even to the point of if the behaviour shows that you don't appear interested in purchasing that, it can then send discount offers, and again can send discount offers based on your behaviour of if you look at comparing different items or similar items from other resellers on the internet. Additionally, we're now at a point where you have a search functionality within that app. So if you want to find toilets or IKEA food or bedrooms, for example, there's now no need to wait until a member of staff is available to point you in the right direction. You can simply search for that function, and using wayfinding, that can direct you exactly to your location.